Welcome to Standing Up.
The book is called How to Opt Out of the Technocratic State. And it is, again, this sort of continuation of the solutions and everything we were just discussing here. Like you mentioned, China and the social credit system. That's definitely something I touch on in the book, as well as places like India, where every single citizen has now become subject to their retina scanning, facial recognition scanning program in order to get government benefits. France recently announced they were going to become the first European country to start an app that people have to use in order to access government services. In order to use the app, you have to scan your face in order to log in. Singapore, Korea, these things are really growing at a quick rate that I don't think many people are recognizing. And I absolutely do think that China is the model for the world of what's going on there, that there are governments like the US and Israel and others that would like to have these kind of controls over their people. So I take it into a very practical state. First, we look at what is the technocracy, or what I call the technocracy and the technocratic state, and look into the history of that term and that philosophy and kind of break that down. And then I talk about counter economics and agorism, which I think we've talked about before, which I think it can sort of lay the foundation for a philosophy of how to avoid these things, or how to live in a world without being completely, you know, confined by digital technology. Because obviously it's a tool that we can use for good or for bad. I think these tools in the hands of free people, they're about sharing information and educating people and growing and mutual aid and all these things. And in the hands of the technocracy and of the corporations and the government, it's about control, it's about monitoring, it's about just social engineering is what it really comes down to. These days, the governments of the world don't have to put a gun to your head and come into your home to force you to do things. When it comes to social credit, now they're finding more creative and subtle ways. Like you said, if you do the wrong activities, you might get denied a bank loan. If you're jaywalking, they're going to plaster your face all over everywhere. If you post fake news as they see it, or if you attend a protest or things like this, then your score is going to go down. And if your friends associate with you, their scores are going to go down too. So we're going to end up in a very interesting world of how do we continue to thrive and survive and create freedom and spread this message whenever our friends and family are going to be pressured through social engineering, through social credit, to disassociate with us, or to, sort of like, well, yeah, I wanted to speak up, but you know what? I really need to make sure I can get this vacation. I need to make sure I can get this loan for my family. I really need to make sure I can travel, because over 1 million people have already been denied the right to travel out of China. And those are their own citizens being denied that right because, they have antisocial behavior. So I started to ask myself, how do we continue to live free in that world? How can we thrive and opt out of that system when there's social credit, facial recognition, biometrics, etc.? And that's what the book focuses on. I really tried to make it a very practical, like, just some practical ideas on different situations for those who might want to exit the big cities and go live on a piece of land in a community. I have ideas for that. For those who choose to stay in the cities and in the towns, and how you could still try to thrive and empower yourself and educate others and things like that. So that will also be available on my website for a free digital download. There's a paperback version for people who want to buy a copy. But again, both the book and the documentary are expected to be released. If everything goes good, the book's definitely going to be released this Friday, January 31st for download. And if everything goes good over the next couple of days, the documentary will be released on Friday as well. And I'm really excited to share them. I've been working on both of them for the past, well, really for over a year as I've been gathering this information. But the last couple months, we've been fine tuning it and getting it down to being something that I think can be palatable for a mainstream audience, especially the 5G documentary. Like I said, it's not written for people who, it wasn't written and narrated for people who kind of know what's going on already, but I think it will teach people who do know about 5G some information as well. But this is the kind of documentary you could show to your mom, your friend, your grandma, somebody who's not into this community and these ideas, and may have only heard that 5G is going to help them download things quicker, and hopefully educate them about some of the concerns.
Awesome. I mean, it sounds like one of the most important books of our era, and I'm very excited to get my hands on it.